So, good morning. It's another one of our Just One Thing episodes. We're up to episode 20 something, I think already, which is exciting. It's still blisteringly hot in the shed, so if I start to pass out, then someone come and slap me. I'm joined today by the extraordinarily interesting and I think quite exciting Blue O'Connor. And quite exciting because you have started up this really interesting new venture. And it's one of my passions. I worked in mental health for 15 years. So the fact that you are supporting male mental health is just really, really fantastic. And so I'm going to hand over to you now because I would love to hear all about King's Grooming.
Yeah, great. Thanks for the call, and thanks for the kind words as well. I'm not sure anyone's ever put those words before my name, so I appreciate that. So yeah, King's. So in a nutshell, King's is a ethical aftershave and grooming brand, and we've got a mission to empower men to live healthier and happier lives. So how we're going to do that is at least 20% of our profits are going to be reinvested into men's mental health and youth mentoring projects. So two causes that are really close to my heart, and I'm very passionate about men and young men and empowering them to become more self-confident, to get over whatever challenges that they face in their day-to-day lives. And it's just been a roller coaster, particularly since we launched the crowdfunder about 80 days ago of radio and TV and newspaper coverage. And it's crazy to think that this was an idea that sprang to mind sort of 16 months ago, and it's starting to get legs, and people actually are getting behind it, which is great because you're never quite sure.
Of course. I mean, we took part in the crowdfunding, so we're excited to get one of the first aftershaves I think we ordered. I mean, is this your background? Is in kind of male grooming products or anything, or is this a totally new venture for you?
So my background, I was an aerospace engineer for 9 years, and I got to a point where I realised I wasn't passionate about it, and I left to travel the world for 18 months with my now wife, and came back with a new passion to start a business with a social purpose. And I've got a full-time job on the side of this as well, so I'm working this every hour in between being a dad and a husband and everything else. But my passion is social change and using business as a mechanism for that.
It's brilliant. It's absolutely brilliant. So how do you put together an aftershave? What's the kind of the process of that? Is it a smell you like, or have you tested it on a few people?
Yeah, it's a good question. So just to add as well, so the issue was that I've been vegetarian for about 3 years now. I've been vegan for 2, and when I got back to the UK, I couldn't find a fragrance that I would buy. There was nothing for sort of the modern man that was quite ethical as well. It was either Body Shop or Lush, which are great brands, don't get me wrong, it just wasn't for me. And I thought there must be a couple of hundred men similar to me, and that's where I realised that it was worth trying. And yeah, to answer your other question, how do you do it? So the hardest thing was finding a manufacturer, and I've managed to find a partner to do the manufacturing, the bottling, everything up to product. So I created the brand. I went with a list of ingredients that I like, fragrances that I like, and we sort of put them in this melting pot, came out with an array of different fragrances, and used focus groups, friends, family, strangers in Bristol, stopping people in the street. Do you like this? Do you like that one? And then 16 months later, we whittled it down to one fragrance to launch with. And we've got another one in the pipeline for Christmas, hopefully.
Lovely. That was going to be my next question, actually, is kind of what would you like to do next? Because the crowdfunding was, I was watching the countdown to see if you were going to make it. It was really exciting. It was terrifying for you, I imagine.
Yeah.
But obviously you've had this sort of start, which is really lovely. But how big would you like to go?
Well, first of all, I won't be doing another crowdfunder anytime soon. Talk about mental health. Crowdfunders aren't good for your mental health. I'm glad we got to the 10K, and I appreciate everyone that's funded, including yourself as well, because it means the dream can keep going. And long term, yeah, where do I want it to go? I'd love to have a suite of fragrances for different types of people and their preferences and different seasons, and really ask customers out there, other ethical customers, what is it that you need? What is it that's not out there that doesn't meet your own values and morals? Do you want to see a moisturizer? Do you want to see a face wash? Do you want to see a beard oil? So I'm going to be leaning into people that are really passionate about the brand and asking them what they want to see next. And the dream is to make King's the UK's biggest ethical male grooming brand. That's the far out dream.
Oh, you've got to have a far out dream, though.
Yeah. Well,
I dream of having a bigger shed. You know, you've got to have a dream, haven't you? I think it's wonderful. And where did how did you choose? I'm interested because I've had this challenge. You know, there's lots of organisations that we can support when we run, socially focused businesses. How did you choose the two organisations that you were working with?
Yeah, so when I first came up with the idea, I knew that I just didn't want it to be a business, because I could have launched it as a standalone ethical business with profits going back into the business. But I knew that I would grow despondent with that quite quickly. So I needed a social element. And I've had my own mental health issues in the past. And now that I feel like I'm in control, I've overcome them, I really want to pass on that knowledge or that skill, or just work in that arena to make it a bit more comfortable that people were in the same position as me 5 years ago. So that was a no-brainer. And in terms of, because it's just me at the moment, I needed to lean on some charity partners. So one is Mind, the national charity Mind, and there's a little offshoot in Bristol. And I've done training with them, so I've already got a relationship established with them as a charity. And Mentoring Plus as well. It's an organisation that I did youth mentoring for about 14 months. Again, I know them well. They're an absolutely amazing organisation, changing young men and young women's lives through mentoring, just giving them the time and space that some of these young people deserve. And we're also in talks with Campaign Against Living Miserably, so the male suicide prevention charity. And again, 84 men commit suicide every week. And it's a stat that I heard once and I just can't get out of my brain. It's absolutely flabbergasting. So that's our three main charities. And again, the dream is to raise enough money through the business to launch our own in-house projects ran by Kings. And that's where I'd love to spend some of my time as well.
It's brilliant. It's very inspiring. So on your travels and in life generally, have you come across, part of what we'll do is add all of those charities and organisations and obviously your stuff into the comments.
Yeah.
So we also ask if you've come across any websites that you found particularly helpful or interesting, or something that you would encourage someone to go and check out.
Yeah, well, in specifically in terms of mental health, or just anything in general?
Whatever you want to share.
Okay, so I'd say from a business point of view, definitely go and check out Tim Ferriss' podcast. The people he interviews and the little snippets and insights you can get are absolutely gold. In terms of social impact, the School for Social Entrepreneurs, they do a great weekly newsletter that lists all the good things going around in the UK and all these people doing social change, because sometimes you can grow quite despondent when you're on your own. You need to feel inspiration from other people. So School for Social Entrepreneurs, a great organisation. And then in terms of yourself, self-improvement or mental health, I'd say check out Medium. They do a great newsletter and various articles, and Thrive as well. And I'll send you the links for those after.
Yeah, we'll add those on. That's brilliant. I think you're right about, I mean, you know, I kind of joke about my shed and I love it because it's my little sanctuary, and I can't see the laundry from here. And I think that's really valuable to me. But it's also quite lonely in terms of, you know, if I'm only here 2 days a week, and so that's really special. But I think if I was here all the time,
yeah.
I would start to feel a bit you're quite right, a bit despondent, or just that you're kind of banging your head against the brick wall a little bit. And so to have those outsources where we can chat with other solo business people is really helpful. That's really good advice.
Yeah, I agree with that.
So the next question usually is there anything more physical that you've come across that you think is a really good thing? So a gadget, or some people have mentioned apps that they use because they're so modern, or anything you've come across that's offline.
Yeah, I've got two spring to mind immediately. One is Headspace, the app for meditation. Take aside the whole spirituality side of meditation, just to make you feel calmer and productive. Meditation changed my life considerably. And offline, just journaling in the morning, get a piece of paper, write down what you're grateful for, what inspires you. I find that very therapeutic.
I like that suggestion. I used to teach a course called Journaling for Wellbeing, so that's going to go to the top of my list. Funnily enough, it's something I know is really valuable, and I don't always make time to do, as often is the way. And so it's nice sometimes to be reminded, isn't it, of things that are quite simple to do, really, that can have a massive benefit. So yes, I might find a lovely notebook and get back in that habit.
Yeah, I find it's one of those things, especially if you're a man, why are you going to do a journal? Why are you going to write down what you're grateful for? But this is what life is about. It's not for men, women, or any gender. It's for humans. So we need inspiration. We need to be grateful. We need to find quotes that drive us. So it's a no-brainer.
Great stuff. I love it. And it brings us to our last question, which is the whole sort of series was created because I felt a little bit overwhelmed by all the shoulda, woulda, coulda things. You know, I should be doing all these things to make the world a better place. And I find personally, when I get a bit overwhelmed, I end up doing nothing because I just sort of wander around panicking and feeling anxious. So I wanted to just start a process where I just try one thing for a week until it becomes a nice new habit, and see if I can keep it going and sort of very slowly make change. So I'm asking everybody if there is just one thing that you think people can do, normal people can do, that would kind of that makes a change, that makes the world a more positive place to be in.
For me, I think you have to put yourself in a good state before you help anyone else. So for me, it's before my day start, before I even think about doing anything good, just write something that makes me feel grateful. One thing, one person, one experience, a book, a particular place I visited, my dog, my wife, my son, whatever springs to mind. What's that one thing at whatever time I get up that's going to make my day feel grateful? And I would recommend anyone that has never tried that to just try it for a week and see how it makes you feel. We'll try it for 2 weeks because these things take time to manifest. Yeah, give yourself something, because there's so many things that we're grateful for. It's just sometimes we don't take the time to write it down and think about it.
That's a lovely idea, and it's completely doable, isn't it? It's not, you know, it doesn't require much of us than just reminding ourselves to do it. I always find the bathroom is where I put my post-it notes, because I know I'll always go in there at some point in the morning. So that's my place for post-it notes for anything I have to do every day. That's a lovely one, to just take a moment to feel the love of something before we start the day.
Yeah.
I love that the dog came higher than the wife and the son.
It's only because he's hid behind the door, that's why.
We usually have cats on the show. We've had a chicken. I don't think we've had a dog yet. So if he wants to make an appearance, very welcome.
Yeah, He always wants to get in. Darce, he's a little miniature schnauzer, and he's a little ping.
Oh.
Say hello.
Oh, hello. Oh, he's gorgeous.
Yeah, he's lovely. So just and little things like going for a walk with your dog or someone special. These things, try and put, if you can, put them into what you do every day, because these are what count. It's what counts in life.
Brilliant. It's been so lovely to have you, Blue, and I'm so thrilled that the crowdfunding. I know it went down to the wire, but I'm so thrilled that happened, and it can just get you moving on to the next stage. It's really exciting
Lovely.
stuff. What you're doing is really special.
Thank you very much.
Pleasure. Right, I'm going to add all those links and things in the comments, but if I miss anything, do feel free to add in anything of your own, okay?
Yep, no worries.